call the meeting to order, and a moment of silent, I forgot. A moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's take that out. Roll call vote, roll call, Mrs. Franks.
Mayor Kindle.
Present.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Present.
Councilman Jenny.
Here.
Councilwoman LaPratt.
Here.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Present.
Councilman Tucson.
Present.
Acting City Manager Szymanski.
Here.
City Attorney DeWally. Here.
Okay, I need a motion to approve of the minutes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to accept, receive, and file the minutes of the regular city council meeting held March 17th, 2025, to receive and file the election commission meeting, the minutes of the election commission meeting held March 20th, 2025, and to receive and file the minutes of the planning commission meeting held March 26th, 2025.
Or any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I noticed in the planning commission meeting that Mr. Hinton updated the planning commission on the number of businesses or whatever that are at the Eastland Center. And I was hoping that he might update us as well tonight. Is now the time for me to ask that, or should I bring it up later in the meeting, or, at the end of the meeting?
Fine to ask, and now you know, it was in the minutes.
Yes.
So-
Okay, thank you. I thought it was interesting. I'm curious.
Okay, we want him to do it now?
Can I ask you for that now? Oh, good. Okay, yes.
Go ahead.
I'll leave off on copies.
Oh,
They got copies.
they got copies. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
it's
you.
in the back.
You got your copy?
Well, if everybody has a copy, the only space that's not leased is in white, and that's the smallest building. The latest was the Fisher Dynamics. That got exposure in cranes, I think a couple of weeks ago, that they were about to lease. Timco, which I believe is an affiliate of Home Depot, I think they're their logistics outfit. And that's basically what I know. We are very, very fortunate to have them all leased up this quickly. I happen to know the one in Highland Park is still struggling, and there are others that are struggling. So the Norfolk guys are pros at what they do, and this is a proof of the pudding, so to speak.
So it looks like almost the entire 3 buildings are filled.
Only 20%.
Almost the entire, so there's only half of the smaller building that is still unoccupied.
Wonderful.
And I think that there are some things in the works for it, maybe several. So that's extremely good news. I was saying to the mayor earlier that economic development on a massive scale is taking place in Harper Woods. The Eastland Commerce Center is a $135 million project. Now, that's considerable for a city only 2.6 miles. Also, the next major project, of course, is going to be Fraser Square, 71 units, and that is 26 million. So we basically have $160 million being invested in Harper Woods.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, Ty, I just wanted to segue on something that you said. There's been some comments made at prior city council meetings that the city was going through economic stagnation. I've heard that from several people at this public meeting. And just to put that to bed, when the mayor and I and this council was seated back in 2020, the taxable valuation of this city was $24,481,673. Today, 200, I'm sorry. Today, it's $302,452,001. That's $77,970,328. $970,328 million growth. So that right there, people are investing in the city. The city is not dead. We have, with almost within 5 years, we've grown 78 million. And you heard Mr. Hinton talk about the fact that there's going to be about 160 some million put in this community. So economic development, it's happening in the city. It's a matter of controlling it now, because it's going to get very big and very rapid. So I just wanted to put that to bed. These are on the tax rolls with the state of Michigan and the county of Wayne. So that's all I have to say, Ty.
Thank you, Ty.
Good job, Ty. Good time. Good job.
Thank you
Yes.
much.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
related to the same thing, I wanted to get updates on some of the smaller projects, like that gas station that's done renovations and some of the smaller projects. I know you guys talk about the big ones, but there's a lot of little projects going on here too.
absolutely. Okay. All right, did we complete the minutes? So now we are at public comments on the agenda items only. Everybody don't have to run at once. All right, then move on to consent agenda, and I need a resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
make a resolution to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 16.
Support. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor? I do have a question. I know it came up at an earlier meeting about Hannah Architects. And I know that we could technically remove this to discuss it, but I think I can just ask a few questions. I know that we have paid out, our contract with them is for $211,600 to design, select the people who are going to build and monitor the building of our community center. Thus far, we've paid them a little over a third of the fee. And I'm just curious about two things, well, three things, actually. The first is, are we certain of getting the money that we need to do that project? Secondly, when we'll see designs, because I know that they had indicated when we had them in and voted on them, that they were going to involve the community. That was part of their, information that they presented us with. And so I'm just kind of curious about, the design of this and community input. And then also, something that's just in the information, and that is, they have conditional waivers that they have, the city needs to sign off on with each of our payments. And the last one that was sent did not have, it says, this waiver, together with all previous waivers, if any, does or does not cover all amounts, and it's not circled. And so I was just curious, I assume that it covers all the amounts. And so those are the three main ideas when are we gonna see?
Okay, first of all, let's address the fact that as soon as we complete the design for the building, we talked at the last meeting that they would make a presentation at city council meeting. And that will be to show you what the designs will be looking like. It was never anything where we was gonna have public input when you're trying to build a building.
Well, AEW had public input last
No,
summer when we were.
No, they did not. No,
Well,
that was not for
A
the,
number of members of the public were there to look
that
at.
was not for, that was not for the community center.
I know, I saw pictures.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, I saw pictures of it.
Anyway, regardless, they will make a presentation when we finish with the design and when we finish with meeting with the designs and deciding on exactly what's what. But the design is already something that we were working on. Your next question is about the monies.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee on monies right now. We're proceeding to do because we have commitments from several different entities about the monies. But as you know, right now, any kind of federal monies is a flux right now. And we're just waiting to see what we will be getting and can we get for the community center. But we're going forward with it because we know that somehow or some way we will make it happen.
Okay. And then the one on the waiver, I'm curious if
Can you
our
answer that?
funding falls through, will the plans belong to us? So that in the future we could use them? Or
Yes.
will they belong to the architect?
We've paid for them.
Well, that's why I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, Mayor, if I could add just a few comments here. What's happening is we're caught up in the same kind of flux that everybody else is. We have to contend with the effects of tariffs, inflation on the building design. And to make it short and sweet, what has happened is that the original cost of the project has gone up almost threefold. It's not stopping anybody. What we have been doing is we have been negotiating very quietly with the governments that we're working with to get extensions on grants, time to put funding together. The state has been really on our side here because we're not the only community that's being affected by this. And we're carrying forward with pretty good plans. I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing.
Oh, absolutely.
With coming from the architect. However, if the way we stack the funding doesn't materialize, we will have ways of economically downsizing the project. Okay, we're realists. Nobody is going to leave a half-built building in Salter Park. We're very, very much aware of that. Even on the initial build-outs, anything that's built, you're not going to see piles of lumber and brick and a half a structure in the park. If something does get built, it will be used for a multi-purpose use. We already have permission from the state to where we could use the money for community center programs versus a community center, but we're pushing forward because, as the mayor said, there's some very, very unique financing arrangements here that people will be surprised. So that's all I can say is just wait and see.
Any other questions? Yes?
Any idea, is this too premature to say, ask about groundbreaking on this, or?
We have to have plans first, right? Right, Beverly?
Beverly Hanna,
Yeah.
the architect, is right here. in the
If you want to
audience.
ask Beverly any questions, Beverly, would you
Beverly,
want
please
to
stand.
answer a few questions here?
Okay, well, I think the plans are going really well. We have a 100% design development documents that will be prepared for Friday. Whenever you guys would like, we would love to come to present the concepts with you. I think it's going to be award-winning myself. But we are planning for the ability to phase the project if we need to. The initial cost per square foot was just a slightly less than what's real, and so we had to bring that into reality. As they're stating, whenever you guys want us to come to present, we're open and ready to do that.
I'm really excited to hear about it.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm open to any questions that you might have.
Anyone else have any questions you want to ask?
But we're 100% design development. And so the next phase would be to do all of the construction documents. And we're going to push forward as instructed. And whenever we're done, those drawings definitely belong to the city of Harper Woods, not us.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Thank you.
All right. Is there anything else? Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. I don't want answers right now, but on these Safe Built invoices, in the 2 years I've been sitting here, Jim LaPalme has not come to the microphone a single time. I would appreciate that he comes to our next meeting or one very soon so that we can ask him direct questions about these invoices and to find out what is going on. And I would think, we have other department heads here that we can ask questions of, that some of these people need to be here quarterly to be giving us reports on what the residents are paying for, because people need answers.
I agree.
Okay.
All right.
Madam
Are
Mayor?
there any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, I was gonna comment also on Safe Built because I was looking at the building inspection fee, what percent, it was 51,000. And beyond that, it was kind of vague on what exactly, the fees were. So I do share the same concern. I was wondering, a little more detail on what was going on, because that was a pretty hefty fee. There's not really, no more detail in here than just that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Ms. Franks.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes?
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, that takes us to old business, and we have none. So it's new business, the city manager's report.
Okay, item G1, public hearing, land vacation request, Robertson Brothers. Mayor and council, at your March 3rd, 225 meeting, a public hearing was scheduled for a land vacation request from Robertson Brothers. Tim Lochran, representing the Fraser Square Development, submitted a request for a vacation on a portion of land that was not addressed with the original land vacation request at the end of the Lennon cul-de-sac. It was discovered that a small portion of the east end of the property near Harper Avenue was overlooked. The only actions required for this item is to open and close the public hearing. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to open the public hearing on the request for a land vacation from Robertson Brothers.
Support?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public hearing is open.
Is there anyone to explain it?
Anybody?
I'll ask the obvious, what's a land vacation request? Ready to walk on the way up there?
Slide that table.
There you go. Yeah, she can tell you.
She can tell you right here.
Oh, you're gonna tell me. I'm gonna tell you. Good evening, Jill Ferrari on behalf of Robertson Brothers Homes and Renovari Development. This request is related to the legal description of the land that was transferred from the school district to our company to build Fraser Estates. There were some issues with the legal description of the property being transferred for different reasons. Some of it has to do with the MDOT transfer to the school district. Some of it is just an incorrectly stated legal description. This is cleanup so that as we demolish the school and start building homes, all of the property legal description is accurate and complete.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question before. I mentioned when I was reading it, it said something about a land contract. How does that, when I think of a land contract, I think you pay monthly and then you show us. Explain how that works with that.
Sure. When the RFP went out from the school district to be responded to, it was the requirement of the school district that whoever took on the project would have to take the land under a land contract first, because the school wanted to make sure that the school was actually demolished. So they wanted to make the transfer in a way where they retained a clawback in case the developer did not demolish the school. And as you all have probably witnessed, we're in the active practice of removing the hazardous materials right now in the building, with demolition to start either later this month or early next month. And to your question about payments, there were payments made at the closing of the land contract, and the remainder of the land contract gets paid when the warranty deed gets transferred to us after the school is demolished. But we will not get that deed until the school is demolished.
Thank you.
Sure. Just gonna stay
Any
here,
further questions?
just in case.
Seeing none from the audience, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, John.
Okay, item G2, approval of land vacation request, Robertson Brothers. Mayor and council, after having held the public hearing, the request for a land vacation on the east end of the Fraser Square property near Harper Avenue as submitted on the attached application can be approved. The Planning Commission recommended that this be approved at their February 26, 2025 meeting. I have reviewed this request and I concur with the Planning Commission's recommendation that this land vacation request be approved. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Jerry.
I make the resolution to approve the request to vacate the segment of Lennon Street right-of-way that abuts the right-of-way of Harper Avenue as submitted by Tim Loughran of Robertson Brothers Homes.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I have one question also. About how long do we think it will take to demolish the property?
That has nothing to do with this land vacation. Please hold your questions like that, okay?
Right, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, this is a resolution.
It is.
It's a motion.
Resolution.
Roll call.
Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G3, Grosse Point Animal Adoption Society GPAS Animal Services Agreement. Okay, Mayor and Council, attached is a revised service agreement on behalf of GPAS, Grosse Point Animal Adoption Society. This agreement is the same one that was presented to City Council in the past, except for the following new highlights. The term of this agreement would be for 3 months, April 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025, and allow for parties on both sides to continue, modify, or adjust this agreement by mutual consent before continuing forward. It is further understood that if this agreement continues, a meeting of all the city managers, Grosse Points and Harper Woods, will take place in December 2025 to discuss the allocation of costs going forward in the next fiscal year and will be presented to each city council for approval. The initial fee, based on the annual usage fee of $79,300 divided by 12 months, multiplied by 3 months would total $19,824 and not the full amount of $79,300 payable at one time. Please bear in mind that GPAS has served as our animal shelter since 2012 at no charge except for minimal boarding cost. Chief Hammerly and I both sought out and reviewed other shelters and agencies and even looked at bringing this service in-house. Each scenario compromised the operations of our police force or were too expensive to justify. I have asked the executive director of GPAS and Chief Hammerly to be on hand and answer all questions related to this agreement that may arise from our city council. This agreement supersedes all previous agreements. I strongly recommend approval of this agreement. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor? I'll offer the resolution to approve the agreement between the City of Harper Woods and Grosse Pointe Animal Adoption Society, GPAS, for 3 months, April 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2025, and the amount of $19,824.
Support.
Discussion.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Yes, I had just a couple of questions about this. Last time, we did have some concerns, and I see that this is really just a 3-month contract. And then in what you were reading, you said that in December is when all of the city managers would get together. So this contract, the 3-month, would end in June, which means we still have between June and December. So we had quite a few concerns. I was wondering, will our concerns be addressed within those 3 months before we go forward with it?
Yes, that's the intention, is to sometime in June, to sit down and to hash out any concerns that we have. At that point, I was given assurance that we could continue month by month, or we could just, I want to say, pay the difference for the whole year. And should it be the whole year, in December, we would be sitting down with all of the city managers from all the Grosse Pointes to see, what kind of allocation method is used. And I would suggest that if you have any further questions now, the executive director is out in the audience, yes, and so is Chief Hammerly.
Okay. Do you want to speak?
Chief, you want to have a few?
No, let her speak.
Okay.
She's the one who made all the noise before.
Did anyone have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. First of all, what's the difference? When you were here last time, you told us that you would not take, in fact, the city manager offered you an opportunity to take a partial payment or, a payment until we at least had a month to look over your record, to look over what you were offering us that day. And you said either take it today or leave it. What is the difference now why are we at this impasse now where you're ready to take something for 3 months as opposed to getting the whole amount?
I believe that was a misunderstanding. When we met before, we didn't have an actual agreement because the agreement had expired in December. And it was my understanding from my attorneys at my board of directors that I couldn't accept or take money from the city without an agreement. So what I'm offering today is an agreement for 3 months. And then, yes, we could, once that agreement is signed, we can accept money. But I cannot accept money when we don't have an agreement. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
Okay, well, it did to our...
It didn't make sense to... It doesn't make sense to me today, and I know that you have us in a bind, and we have no choice but to settled with you because you have spoke to many people around the city. You maligned us in the newspaper, and so there's no one that wanted to even work with us because they thought we were some kind of animal cruelty group or something of that nature. And it just made us all very angry and upset. The fact that you came and demanded that we do what you wanted to do that day without even having an opportunity to look over your paperwork. Unfortunately, that tape was not available, so everyone could not see and hear what you said to us, and everyone came in here to admonish us as council and mayor that we were not doing our job and we was just letting the poor little dogs and cats be running around the city unaccountable. And that was not the truth, because we got that paperwork that day. So we did not know what was in that paperwork. And we asked you for an opportunity to look over that paperwork, which you stood right there in that same standing and said, no, take it or leave it. It's either like this or nothing. And then you walked out. So, and then you go to the newspaper and you admonish us through the Grosse Pointe News on, I think, at least 2 different occasions. We never responded, so they only had your word to go for. And I thought that was very unfair for you to do that to us. We, like everybody else, have pets and dogs, cats, birds, and everything. We were not against the animals. We were against the fact that you would give us a contract and you would not give us an opportunity to look it over. We get packages every week before we have a council meeting. We look over those, we're supposed to look over those contracts that was presented to us. Your contract came that evening and you would take nothing from us. You said, take it or leave it. And I'm glad I have the opportunity to say this to you, because I thought that was totally unfair of you to do that to us, because we have the fiduciary responsibility to take care of the taxes and the taxes for the people of the city of Harper Woods. We're not guaranteed to do anything else for a vendor, but we're here to protect the taxes that we receive from the people of Harper Woods. And that was what we were trying to do, which you would not allow us to do, because you said you're the only game in town, and you were correct. We have not been able to find it because most people said, oh, you're that city that GPS had a problem with. You're that city that GPS didn't want to work with. So we were caught in a bind. And I just want to, I'm glad that I have the opportunity to vent to you, to tell you how I felt about the way you treated us. And I think I speak for the majority of the city council members that are sitting here.
Would you now like me to speak?
Excuse me?
So I understand what you're saying, but what I want you to know is I had been working on this project for many months, and it was never my intention that you would be presented with that information the night of the vote. That was never the intention. Unfortunately, through things that happened and meetings that didn't happen with this particular city, you didn't have all the information. Since that time, I have met with City Manager Mr. Szymanski, and I explained to him how this all came about. It's just unfortunate that you all did not have that information prior to that meeting. I agree with your decision. I certainly would not have voted on it either, because you didn't have that information in advance. But we had done the research. You just talked about investing in the community, and one of you brought up that, you were talking about small businesses that invested in the community. We never got any recognition for our investment. We purchased a building, we renovated a building, we hired a contractor. We made sure that there was a building there that was going to be available to the municipalities for these stray dogs. We did all that research. We never appeared in the Insider or anything else. You never acknowledged that we were serving. It's frustrating to me as well, and I certainly don't want to banter with City Council. That is not what I'm here to do. We have been here to serve the citizens and serve the animals. And yes, we are the only show in town, but we made it that way because we built this building so that we could serve you. We could help public safety. We could help the residents. And I think it's a great misunderstanding. As I said, you think that I was being difficult. What was also in the paper, Mayor, was the disclosure of our very private settlement over a lawsuit. That person that was injured, the amount of her lawsuit was disclosed at a city council meeting. That's what was also in the newspaper. That hurt our organization a lot. I had donors, I had volunteers, I had employees, I had people asking me about something they knew nothing about until it was disclosed by your city council. So I think at this point, maybe we both are upset about what's happened, but it's time to throw it under the rug and be done with it and build a new relationship, and get over the personal stuff, because we're here to serve and we want to help. And unfortunately, there's a cost now because, as I explained to the city manager, we built a municipal building for municipalities. It's not an adoption center, and that comes with a cost. And so our only recourse to raise money is to charge the municipalities an access fee, as do all other animal shelters. We're just catching up with them, and that's all we're trying to do. And you have 3 months. You don't have to take this. We're offering it to you, and we're only giving you 3 months, so that gives you time to look at it, to raise money, I'd be happy to sit down and meet with any of you and explain the situation. I realize you got hit with it cold, but that wasn't my fault. It may have appeared to be my fault, but it was just, Chief Hammerly can tell you, I was meeting with all the chiefs. We were knocking this idea around. We were trying to figure it out. We didn't know how we were going to charge for it. So we were getting input from everyone. So it's not that it was just happened that day. It took months to get to that point, and I'm sorry that you didn't have the information. So that's all I have to say about it.
Madam Mayor?
I have a couple of questions, and
of course,
Ms. Martin, perhaps you can explain this to me. Two particular things. In the last 3 months, when we were not involved in your facility, have your costs decreased 4%? Have your costs gone down by 25%?
I would say they've gone down by 50%.
Okay. You have been charging, or the amount that you are asking our city to pay is 4 times more than any other community.
Right.
And that's a lot of money, $80,000 a year. And on top of that, are the individual fees for animals that are dropped off to you from our community, from our police department. It seems to me that the amount of money for your facility should be equally shared by the communities that the facility is geared for, and that the individual fees for animals dropped off there is where you might charge us 4 times more than other communities. But we're getting socked twice, because we're getting 4 times more than other communities based on the number of animals, and 4 times more for the facility itself. You have been paying for the facility without us. And so I am still upset, because we haven't seen any kind of change coming from your organization that would accommodate the community in the way that we believe it needs to be accommodated. We shouldn't be paying 4 times more than any other community for a building that's going to house everybody. And that's where I have a problem. And the second question I have is that on the information I've received, when we were told that you would not take any dogs or cats from our community without a contract. We see that we have 7 animals that you took during the months that we were not contracted with you. Is that accurate? Have our police dropped off 7 animals to you?
Your police have not dropped off any animals to us.
Then why are we being told that 7 animals, 5 dogs and 2 cats, were taken in from Harper Woods from January through March of 2025?
There was no fee for that, and the Harper Woods Police did not bring in any of those animals
Then how could those animals be credited to Harper Woods?
because those animals were abandoned at our facility, which is in Harper Woods.
Oh, so we are getting credited for all animals that come to your facility in Harper Woods. This is what came up at our last meeting. How can you put down here that 7 animals came from Harper Woods during that period of time in your intake if none of those animals came from the Harper Woods Police?
Okay, so let me explain. We are a state licensed animal shelter. I have to get approved by the state of Michigan, Michigan Department of Agriculture, each and every year. We turn in a report. It's available to you to read on the Michigan Department of Agriculture website. Those reports are based on jurisdiction. We have to report every animal that comes to us, whether it's from a police department, a resident, and what city it comes to. If it's abandoned at our door, tied up to our door, it's in the jurisdiction of Harper Woods. I can't put on the report that it came from East Point.
And I guess that's why $80,000 is being asked from Harper Woods alone.
Prior to what's happened recently, the police department was bringing in those animals. They weren't being, occasionally, yes, we had abandoned animals at our building. But once the police department was in the position where they couldn't respond to animal calls, there were residents or people in the community or maybe in another community that tied an animal up to our building or put it in a lobby or did whatever they could to get it into our care.
That's exactly what we were concerned about. Why
Those numbers are minimal. The
Well,
large
certainly not,
numbers.
because they're worth $80,000 to you.
So, with all due respect, what happened, which again is the information that you did not have, I met with all the cities. I met with, and Chief Hammerly can tell you, I met with all of the chiefs. I met with all of the city managers. We tackled for months how we were going to divide the pie. Our board of directors met. They came up with originally it was $180,000. We removed all of the veterinary costs, we removed all of the supplies, everything we could, took it down to liability insurance, overhead, which was DTE, and water, and also staff, minimal staff. And then that came out to $130,000. Then we went and calculated all of our intake numbers from each municipality for 2023 and 2024 up until October of 2024. And unfortunately, Harper Woods was 61% of all of the animals that we took into our facility. So that's how Harper Woods came up with the largest amount of intake and the largest amount of cost. It was based on a solid calculation because that's the only way we knew to do it fairly.
Except that right now, you show us with 7 animals, which ties with other communities. And we haven't given you any of those animals, but they are credited to Harper Woods, not under the other category, which would seem to imply that there are animals taken in that you can't accredit to one of these other
It's based on jurisdiction. It's based on municipality.
Right,
We are a
exactly.
private shelter with municipal
Then what is
agreements.
other? Then what is other?
Other is an animal that would come to us from a non-contracted community, or, for example, an owner give up. So let's say that someone in East Point comes to us they want to rehome their dog. And we agreed to take it in.
We are an uncontracted community through this time period, and yet 7 animals are credited to us.
Because they were in our jurisdiction.
Imagine that. Imagine that.
Well, how else could you tell me how I could account for them? If the animal is
I'll
in
tell
the
you.
city of Harper Woods, how can I say it's not?
$135, $145, $150,000 for the facility running water, electricity, and your minimal number of people in that facility, and whatever the cost of the building is. Those are things that all of us are responsible for, all of the communities equally. But you have given Harper Woods.
Not equally.
But you have given Harper Woods the highest amount, 4 times more than any other community is paying.
Because
And these
the
are for your
usage,
base rates.
the usage is 4 times what any other
The usage
community.
comes from what we pay per dog and per cat. That's where your usage fees come in, not for the basic fee of the facility. And that's what I have a problem with.
Then,
Madam Mayor?
then don't accept the agreement. That's fine, because we don't need to. Chief, do you have anything to say?
Well, we have some more questions.
No, she said she canceled.
Did she cancel?
She didn't cancel it.
I have a question.
And I apologize. I'm
Well,
just
actually,
very
Jerry had
frustrated.
a
We have tried everything to make this more palatable, more agreeable. I've met with your city manager. I tried desperately to explain to him, and I think he understood. And I've met with your chief, and I don't know what to say.
Jerry had a question.
Yeah. All right. I hate to rehash things, but I think that you owe our entire city an apology. We tabled this, and within hours, you had a Facebook post that said we terminated the contract, which had hundreds of comments, very derogatory about our city. We didn't. The 7 of us didn't do anything. We tabled it because we didn't have the information. And I think all these people deserve an apology from your organization for what was said on those posts. I mean, it was pretty cruel, some of the things that were said. There was racial comments. It was, our city's a ghetto, our ghetto owners. Come on. It's
None
like
of that
should have
was-
been removed. It should have never been on there.
None of that was from me. None of it.
Well, somebody in your organization posted it and you allowed all the comments. So I think that our residents deserve an apology. Next, I'd like to know, you said that we take up 61% of all animals come from the city of Harper Woods. Right now, is 61% of your shelter empty? Or is it 100% full?
It is not 100% full. I don't know what percentage is empty.
Because it should be 61% empty if we're consuming 61% of all the dogs. Also, I'd like to read what this contract says. It says GPAS will only accept found and stray animals from public safety of Harper Woods. So, because I've seen other Facebook posts in the meantime from Grosse Pointe Park of people picking up dogs, and the police, either the police wouldn't get them and GPS wouldn't come over and get them. So only our police officers, if a resident finds a dog, can they go drop it off, or do our police officers have to go and drop it off?
Okay, so again, let me just clarify. We have 2 buildings. We have the adoption center, which has absolutely nothing to do with the municipal building called the Animal Protection Facility. That building will only accept animals that come in through the municipalities based on our agreements. An owner give up would never come to the Animal Protection Facility. It's not for that.
So, but if a resident finds a dog, can they drop it off over there, or do they need to have our police bring it over there?
We do not
Because it's an
accept animals from residents. So they would only come to us, as it says in the agreement, through the police department based on the officer's disposition.
Okay, Cheryl, Regina, and then Ivory.
Okay, looking forward, so, I mean, we're stuck with this agreement or whatever, the $80,000, which to me that's what upset me, was not the 80,000, but the comparison, like, our city has like the lowest average income, and we're paying the most, and Grosse Pointe Shores, which has the highest average income, is paying the least, and they're paying, what, $1,600, or I don't remember the exact amount, a very, very low amount. And it seems to me that there should be at least some kind of, a portion of that 130,000, there should be at least an access fee, like, just so you can have that access, 5,000, 10,000, toward that 130,000 cost. And then the burden would be kind of spread out a little bit more.
Let me
But
address that.
Moving forward, yeah, I mean, in the next
They-
arrangement, I'm talking about our next, the next agreement.
Well, and I just want to clarify that, because this was not based on income of residents.
I understand
This was
that.
based strictly on usage, and it is the access fee, that's what you're paying. And we're not asking you to pay 80,000 because you didn't use the first 3 months. So that ship has sailed, and we're
Well,
not
the-
asking you to pay
The
anything.
portion of the 80,000.
Correct.
So right now, we're only paying 19,000.
Correct.
And now, I want to make it clear, I am not opposed to using this service, okay? I think you guys have been great over the years, and I have been a supporter, and you know I've come here before, and I've contributed and donated things and such. But, what I'm trying to figure out is, how can we pay less next time? Like, how can we even it out? I know one of the problems is that we would call you for everything. Like, even if a dog had an owner, you guys were still called. Like, some of this that is not necessary. We don't need to take every single dog that somebody finds or call you for every single little animal. Yes, the
Yeah,
ones
can-
that are dangerous.
can
the
I
ones
address that?
running loose throughout the neighborhoods with no owner, or that no collar or something, you know, that I understand, you know, things that are gonna be a risk to our residents, we definitely need to call you for.
Can I just
I'm wondering
say,
if there's a way we can do this so that maybe our costs are significantly less. What are your suggestions?
agreed. So let me ask Chief Hammerly to address that, because he and I, subsequent to our meeting with Mr. Szymanski, he and I met to discuss that very thing. So we are proactive in that. So Chief?
Okay, I'd like to hear this.
Certainly. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your diligence in ensuring the best, the best agreement for the taxpayers, right? We explored all kinds of options. It all kept on coming back to GPAS. We discussed getting our own animal control, contracting with other communities, all of these things, but they kept coming back to, we don't have a facility to house these animals in our city. The other thing was we had to take an animal down to I-75 in Hamtramck, the Humane Society, and I'm taking a police officer off the road for an hour. That is a non-starter. So to answer your question, Councilwoman, Corinne and I, anticipating a potential agreement, sat down last week. We discussed some common sense policies going forward that will reduce costs for GPAS and reduce costs to the taxpayers. And you're right, in the past it always has been. There's a dog running down Beaconsfield. The police go out there, they grab it right away, and now that dog is going to GPAS. So we think this 3-month period will give us an opportunity to hopefully those methods work and we reduce those costs. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this will work and at least
Yeah.
reduce it by 50% or more. But how soon can we realize these savings is my question. I mean, do we have to wait till next year? Are we locked in?
Well, we have to get it working first.
Yeah.
Before we can decide on what's what. Regina, please.
Thank you, Corinne, for coming to our meeting. My question is, listening to the way that you distribute the money, is that you said it's by jurisdiction. And jurisdiction means that GPAS is in Harper Woods. So no matter how things come out, because GPAS is located in Harper Woods will always be paying the lion's share because the building resides in Harper Woods, regardless of the number of dogs and cats or whatever that come from the Grosse Points. So when I look at your contract, especially when we took this 79,000 divided by the 12 months times the 3 months, so it's just a 3-month contract, we're still being charged the same thing as that we were discussing before.
Okay, so I can explain it. So when we calculated that out, it was based on, as I said, 23 and 24 up through October. And then as Mr. Szymanski said, it was my plan when I met with each, and I did present before each and every city council, and I was asked the same question. We plan to sit down with each of the city managers again and the chiefs in December and look at the whole year. What did it really cost us? Was it $130,000? Maybe it was $100,000. And then we're going to look at the numbers. The police departments have all tried to control their intake. They're all trying. And if we can get the numbers down, we can get the cost down, then the pie wouldn't be as much. That's the goal. But we never ran that building before. We had no idea what the costs were going to be. We never did all 6 cities before. We had no idea how many animals were going to come in. We had to prepare in some way because like you have a city council, I have a board of directors. I sold that project to them. And then I need to be accountable on how we're going to facilitate that building that I got them to spend almost $1 million on. You know, you guys are doing your community center. You have to have the funding. You have to have the plans. I have fiduciary responsibility as well. I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can to each and every city. And yes, it is our goal to get these costs down. But we had to start somewhere.
Okay, I agree with you about having fiduciary responsibility, but even the new contract that you're offering us for the 3 months, we're still being charged the same amount, which is $19,000 per month.
Because it was based on those
But
previous
that's what I'm saying.
figures.
I don't see a change.
It may.
Because we're still paying the lion's share of that 79,000. I don't see a change because we thought that it should have been, like we said at the other meeting, split between the communities because we're all using it. It's not just Harper Woods, and Harper Woods paid most of it because it's located in Harper Woods.
Well, for example, Grosse Pointe Shores brings in 1 or 2 animals a year. That's why their share was so little.
But you said it was on jurisdiction, which means
Right.
location.
Well, right, they're in Grosse Pointe Shores, but I'm just saying their usage is they bring in 1 or 2 animals a year compared to Harper Woods that brought in well over 200 in a year. So it's a difference.
Mayor, I have a comment I'd like to add.
Let
Okay.
Ivory speak.
Okay.
One thing I've worked with the adoption agency, and I don't have any sort of issues and fun. But one thing is, you're a nonprofit, so do you pay taxes to Harper Woods at all? No, and we still get our police service, and you still get our fire service. What about our trash? Do you do your own trash, or do you use our trash services too? You know, for picking up trash and stuff.
Priority 1 comes through and picks up the trash.
So so there's another point I'm saying here. You're located in Harper Woods, and we don't even have the name up there. It's all about Grosse Pointe. We don't even say Harper Woods, Grosse Pointe. You're still charging us want to charge us this annual fee plus the cost of the animals, the individual animals that come in. It seems like at least some of that, we should just have just one flat fee and not be charged for every animal, because every animal is not from Harper Woods. You get strays from everywhere. They come in and people dropping off and they bring it over here because they can do it. And you take them from everywhere. I don't care what city they're from. So, that's another reason. Those are some reasons, again, cost should be less because you're in our facilities, you don't pay us any taxes, and you use all of our services. And that's the cost of us right there. So that, again, is not fair.
Okay, I will tell you, one of the things that we've kept pretty, pretty quiet, but because you're asking, I will tell you, we do a lot of things for residents in the community. We have not advertised it because we don't want it to be overused or abused, but you can probably talk to a lot of residents in the community, which will tell you sometimes they can't afford to take care of their animal. There are animals that we pay for their grooming, we pay for their vaccinations, we pay to have them sterilized. There's a lot of people in the community that come and get food from us. There's a lot of things we do to help residents of this community that we don't publicize. So we feel that we're doing as much as we possibly can to help the animals as well as the residents of this community. And Harper Woods residents are my biggest users of our assistance program. And we're proud of that. And we raise money so that we can help these people. So it's not, so there's more to it than what might meet the eye.
Yeah, we're just trying to see how much we can get out of it. Even our name up there, Stage Front, Harper Woods, Grosse Pointe, you have thought there, and you're still using our services, which is a cost to us too. So I still think your price is too high. And I hate paying this almost as bad as I hate paying Milk River. And I think this is even worse.
Okay.
When you're doing this, and
Tom?
you don't seem to have any flexibility here or taking considerations the services that we offer you here and keeping that price down.
All right, Tom?
I guess the only question I've got going forward, 3-month process. At the end of that, we'll see if we're going to go a little more longer to get to the end of the year. Once the end of the year hits, will we be based off of just what the police bring in or what's tied up to the front door?
The numbers, we don't get a lot tied up to the
Well,
front door,
but
by the way.
you have-
But
you have-
yes,
you have 7 right
the
now.
Harper Woods numbers will reflect all the animals from Harper Woods. You're only paying for those that are brought in by the police departments.
But when we divvy it up next year, come January 1st, will you count the dogs, the 7 that are on here? Will that be part of the
Yes.
count?
To my state report, yes.
But for us to pay for it come January 1st, when you divvy up the pie, will that number,
We can discuss that in December when I sit down with all the city managers. That can certainly,
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, it can be discussed, certainly, of
So
course.
whatever we bring in as a police department, we're charged on that?
Correct.
Okay.
John?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a few things. As we stand today, we don't have an animal control service in the city. We're at the start of a construction season, a big one, I have to say. This summer, we're getting, Heather, what is it, 115 catch basins done across the city. We're having some major spanses of road redone. We're getting the trees all trimmed through the city. We have a 2-year sidewalk program. The last thing we need are stray dogs walking around, running around, jumping on residents. I witnessed that myself a few weeks back. And we need an animal control service, in the city. One of the things that Corinne and I and the chief talked about was when animals arrive at the facility that we want people to call the police department or the dispatch area before the animals are shipped to G-Pass. I believe the understanding is that residents will not be able to take animals to G-Pass without going through our police department first. And I think that is going to bring down considerably the number of animals that are in the shelter. And as the executive director said, we can arm wrestle over this in December. But today, we absolutely need an animal control service in place. And we are not getting charged for January, February, and March. And this contract is only for 3 months. If we don't like it, we can opt out. If we do like the contract, then we can go month by month, or we can go till the end of the year, but we essentially, we need something in place today. Business is business. We have to put feelings aside and carry on with the business of the city. That's all I have to say. I support a yes vote on this contract.
Yes, Mayor. I totally understand that our hands are tied.
Right.
I get the fact that we can't keep asking our police department to pick up animals and have nowhere to take them. I get that. But I really feel that GPAS has to reevaluate how they charge cities for their services. Because we're paying a per animal fee, which is fair. We should be paying per animal for keeping them overnight, for feeding them, for veterinary services, whatever the case might be. We should be paying that. And because we bring in more animals, and apparently 7 of them right now are being credited to Harper Woods when we didn't bring any of those in, I have a problem with our paying the base fee for the facility itself at a 4 times higher than any other community that's using the same facility and requiring the same base services. I have a problem with that. And I do understand our hands are tied, but I really believe that GPAS needs to reevaluate how they're charging the communities. And if that means you increase the per animal fee to better reflect the number of animals that you take in, that's one thing. But the base fee for what you have calculated is the cost of the facility, the electricity, the water, your basic, number of people that are working there. That is something that should be spread equally across all communities that are using that facility, period.
And you using our police, our
Okay.
fire. Okay.
All right, we beat this
Well, I didn't
horse
get to
to death.
finish.
You
I was
spoke.
cut off before I was done last time.
You had an opportunity to speak, so
But I didn't get to finish. It was tossed over before I was done.
finish your question.
Okay, all right. So we are being charged nearly 80,000 if we did the whole year based on last year, 200 animals. So that's almost $400 per animal to keep the lights on and the heat and everything, in addition to the cost of the food and veterinary and whatever. True? No.
We took out all veterinary,
All right, not
Yeah.
veterinary. No, I
No.
mean okay.
No,
So you're
it-
not charging us
the
for
hi-
veterinary services?
we're not, no.
Okay.
No,
Well,
no
good to know.
supplies, no food, no veterinary services. Just FYI, it's $700 to spay a female cat or a female dog. So that's why veterinary services are not included in anything.
Okay, and that's not included in the per day fee or anything?
No.
For the food, all right,
No.
okay. Now, the police dog Kaiser, I know you guys helped to raise the money. You guys were the people that kind of kept the money. I understand we have some money remaining in that account. How much is that?
It's my understanding, maybe city manager can speak to that. It's my understanding it's somewhere around 47,000.
Okay, 47,000.
That's accurate.
Okay, so you guys have $47,000 for us to get a new police dog.
That's money that was turned over to your city for that purpose. So we have the money's not in our possession, it's in your possession. And
Okay,
yes, you
in
can
our
choose to do
possession.
that.
So we can't use that money for this, we have to use it for a new police.
Correct.
Okay, all right. But taking into consideration approximately half of what we give you, we've gotten back for other purposes. To me, it makes it less painful that we have gotten money back for things that we don't have to use tax dollars to do.
It's a very positive way to look at it in that, yes, GPAS raised about $150,000 towards the Harper Woods Canine Program. So yes, that's a very positive way to look at it, because you had a program that at no cost whatsoever to the city of Harper Woods that was generated by our efforts and could continue to be.
So, yeah, my basic end result is the cost to the taxpayer is less than it would normally be because of that program. That we didn't have to pay out of pocket for that. And even though it's not the same pot, the pot's all generated in the same kitchen, I guess you could say. All right, so I guess where I'm saying is, though, one thing is costing our taxpayers extra, one thing is relieving our taxpayers at the same time, basically. So it's kind of like that. I'm just saying that makes me feel better, not that it's gonna make the cost go down any, but just the overall damage to the taxpayer's wallet that offsets it somewhat.
Are you complete?
I am complete.
Thank you. I guess at this time, we need to take a roll call vote. But also make sure to know that Kaiser was taken care of by the city. That was donations that they raised, had fundraisers, the pancake and the spaghetti dinners and stuff. But still, the cost of Kaiser was funded by the city of Harper Woods. They helped us to get the K-9 unit, but the care of Kaiser was our responsibility, and that's what we did. Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman LaPratt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki,
No.
Councilman Tucson,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Kindle,
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino,
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G4, CBiz and insurance services. Mayor and council attaches the invoice for the city's new actuarial evaluation for other post-employment benefits, OPEB. As you may recall, the city has won a series of binding arbitration, lawsuit awards, and settlements, and has led to a considerable reduction of other post-employment retirement benefit future costs, all while currently maintaining great health care benefits for our active and retired former employees. Our city has saved over $35,023,540 in future obligations and avoided an immediate $500,000 plus payment to the State of Michigan Trust Fund each year. Please review the section of the report entitled Net OPEB Liability, Changes in Employer Net OPEB Liability and Related Ratios. You will see our outstanding liability in 2018 was $48,922,449. Today it is $13,898,909 for a total savings of $35,023,540 as certified by our actuaries at CBiz Inc. This report is necessary for the city's upcoming financial audit. I recommend approval and payments in the amount of $5,480.20 to CBiz on behalf of the actuarial OPEB valuation report. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
by a resolution to approve payment to CBIZ Benefits and Insurance Services in the amount of $5,480.20 for the actuary evaluation for the other post-employment benefits, OPEB.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Tucson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G5, election precinct changes. Mayor and council, attached is a memorandum from the city clerk requesting an ordinance to alter our voting precincts. This proposed ordinance would change the existing 6 voting precincts to 3 voting precincts. As her memorandum states, this will provide us with some cost savings and streamlined voting at each polling location. The Election Commission has also recommended the precinct changes. Due to certain times restrictions imposed by the state, the city clerk has requested that this ordinance have immediate effect. Mayor, a resolution is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to offer the resolution to adopt ordinance number 2025-01 entitled, "An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 7, Section 7-2 of the Code of Ordinances to change voting precincts," and further to direct the city clerk to publish a notice of this in accordance with city charter requirements, Section 8-3, giving it immediate effect with necessary adjustments.
Support.
Okay, any discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'm just curious how this will affect future presidential elections. We've had greater turnouts during presidential elections, and I know I'm in favor of, reducing the number of sites, but I just want to make certain that the lines won't be getting, a lot longer, that we'll be able to handle future elections better.
Ms. Frank,
Yeah.
would you care to elaborate on this?
Well, I think with the early voting
Absolutely.
and the absentee ballots
Absolutely.
will make it all much easier.
Yep.
We should never have the long lines that we had during, President Obama's election, because we did not have early voting, and we did not have, anyone can request an absentee ballot. So therefore, it made it that you had to come vote in person. And this way, it doesn't. If you voted in person, you would have noticed that it was less people voting in person than I've ever seen as long as I've been voting. Because most people voted early, and the other people voted absentee. I like to vote in person, but, it was very few people.
We just need to continue to promote early voting.
Yes, we need to continue, and with cost factors. Okay.
And pretty much every community in the state of Michigan is going through the same process, consolidating the precincts, mostly because of the cost of equipment. And we're going to be responsible to buy all new equipment again in 2 years. This will save a significant amount of money that way as well.
Thank you.
And
Is there any further discussion?
I'm curious with the end, my recommended action language was different from that given by Mrs. Costantino, and so I'm curious what that ending had to deal with.
Well, that had to do with, there was one street that may have been in the
Wrong place.
wrong place, and we
Right.
wanted to leave it open, let the clerk make the
Make the corrections.
corrections necessary,
All right.
and not be locked into something where you have one street that's in the Grosse Pointe School District that has to vote in Harper Woods District.
Thank you.
Yes.
Right now, we've passed laws making it much easier to vote with absentee early voting. If for some reason in the future these laws were to change and some things were rescinded and we had to go back to mostly in-person voting. I can remember being over at Popard and being in a very long line for the I believe it was the Obama that if that were to happen again, and now we've consolidated, and now we have one tabulator, could we could amend this and, okay.
Yes. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Franks, or is it a motion?
Resolution.
It's a resolution, so it's a motion. I need a roll call.
Yes. Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Okay, resolution passes.
Okay, item G6, MERS 457 Plan, Employer Contribution Addendum. Mayor and Council, back during August of 2024, the City of Harper Woods and the Command Officers Association of Michigan agreed to a new union contract expiring December 31st, 2026. The agreement was ratified by both the COAM Union and our City Council. Part of that agreement included a neutral cost drop retirement agreement with MERS on behalf of retirement-eligible COAM members. The plan was necessary to retain current command officers that were presently retirement eligible and would allow these police officers to work up to an additional 5 years, giving the city time to hire new recruits while simultaneously saving tens of thousands of dollars for each eligible participant on health care stipend allowances that did not have to get paid out. As part of this agreement, MERS will be required to make contributions each payroll period totaling 9% of employees' compensation funded entirely from the monthly amounts remitted to MERS on behalf of the City of Harper Woods. No employee payroll deductions will be allowed, and the MERS 457 plan will not be added to the city's existing 457 plans, Mission Square and nationwide. This plan remains cost neutral to the City of Harper Woods, and I recommend its approval.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the resolution to approve the addendum to the participation agreement between the City of Harper Woods and the Municipal Employees Retirement System, MERS, incorporating the neutral cost drop retirement plan on behalf of the retirement-eligible COAM members, and further, to authorize the acting city manager to sign the agreement.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, Mrs. Frank.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Kindle.
Yes.
Councilwoman Costantino.
Yes.
Councilman Jenny.
Yes.
Councilwoman LaPrat.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sawicki.
Yes.
Councilman Toussaint.
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Okay, item G7, establish public hearing dates for special assessment district. Mayor and Council, the City of Harper Woods has statutory authority to provide police and fire services to the community and impose a special assessment for providing these services under Public Act 33 of 1951. The passage of this mill assessment would provide additional funding for police and fire services. It is necessary once again to ask City Council to renew the millage assessment for 2025. I will provide you with an estimate of the projected cost of operating our police department and fire department, combined with the legacy cost of police and fire retirees at the public meeting. Therefore, it is my recommendation that we schedule the necessary public hearings. Mayor, a motion is recommended.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'll offer the motion to schedule a public hearing on May 5th at 7 p.m. for the purpose of receiving public comment on the continuation of a special assessment district, and further to schedule a second public hearing on May 19th at 7 p.m. for the purpose of reviewing the effect of the special assessment on the tax roll, and further that the city clerk publish a notice of these in accordance with city charter requirements.
Support.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
One quick question of the city manager. I know we've been assessing these at close to or at the maximum allowable. Are we going to see a decrease in that, or do we still have to wait for some of our, Eastland monies to start coming in and other things that might help us to pay for these services?
I think right off the bat, we're going to have a tax cut, about 2 mils. That's what I'm looking at.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and that concludes the city manager's reports.
Okay, call the audience. If you have 3 minutes, one time only, come up and to the mic, identify yourself and speak.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for allowing us to be here. I just want to affirm what Councilman Sawicki said about the way that they are assessing the G-Pass fees. I completely agree with you. I just wanted to give my 2 cents that it should be equally assessed. The ground floor fixed cost should be equally assessed between all 6 communities, and then you pay per dog. That makes way more sense in the way they're doing it. So I will stand behind you in any way that I can. And then I also wanted to just say that there is sorry to talk politics, but the current administration would really like our voting rights to get lessened, not strengthened. And so I do have some concerns that there will come a point in time when we could only vote on one day, and that would be it. So I'm happy and heartened to hear that we can at that point adjust what we need to do and figure it out at that point in time. That was my only concern. So thank you, Council.
Thank you.
Oh, Dawn Drost on Severn Road.
Hi, Juanita Busick. I have a concern that I brought up before, and that is, I quote out of here, that it's a violation of city ordinance, this is from the Insider, to allow your dog to roam freely or be off-leash outside of your backyard. Dog owners who do not have a fully fenced yard and secure backyards should keep their dogs on a leash or tie-out line when outdoors to prevent escapes. Dogs roaming freely or at large may be in violation and issued citations. That's a quote from the Harper Woods Insider. The problem we have in Harper Woods, especially with the small dogs, not all dogs, I mean there's large ones too, is they are on the grass in the front lawn off of the leash. And when you're walking, this happens to a lot of people. My case, I'm walking my dog, and these little animals are just curious, they're innocent. It's the owner. They let them roam around. They come up to my dog, and little dogs want the big dogs. They're little, they're, especially if they're puppies. My dog's older, and we need to set something that the owners of the dogs know this is the law, the ordinance of the city. That's where we get a lot of problems in. It's from the owners, it's not the dog, and it's not G-Pass, it's not the city. The city has to stress this.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is McKenna Holman. I've been a resident of Harper Woods for 27 years, first on Van Antwerp, and now I'm a homeowner for the last 2 years on Woodmont. I am on the library board for Harper Woods, very proudly serving for almost a year now. I just wanted to remind everyone that this week is National Library Week. It's very exciting. I hope everyone takes a chance to go to our beautiful library that's been around for 60 years. It has a wonderful staff and wonderful patrons. And I want to remind everyone that on April 25th, from 1 to 4 is our Friends book sale. So you can go ahead, fill a bag that is provided by the Harper Woods Library. It's a reusable bag for just $5. Last time I went, I probably fit almost 20 books in my bag. And I just really want to encourage everyone to visit the library And I want to invite all of the residents to come to our board meeting. We have a board meeting every Thursday at 7 p.m. that is open to the public, and it just happens in the library.
Once a month.
Once a month. Sorry, I said every Thursday. I wish it was every Thursday. No, once a month, third Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. You are more than welcome to come and sit, even if you don't have anything to say. We had 2 patrons come last month, and it was wonderful. Again, please check out a book at the library. It's a beautiful thing to have in our city. That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Janetta Tabron. The NEDC had our game day on March 29th. It was exciting.
You had fun.
It was competitive. We had a good time. Can't wait for the next one. Our next event for the NEDC will be the Spring Flea Market. That will be on May 17th at the Redeemer Methodist Church on 8 Mile from 10 to 4. So hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Reginald Tabron, Rose Court. It's all good in Harperwood. I'd just like to also remind everybody that my wife and I are also on the school board, and as part, one of our responsibilities is to make sure that we communicate with City Council, to let the public know that your millage money is being used wisely, and that our kids are worth the investment. Our robotics team, a couple weeks ago, had a competition in Macomb Community College on 12 Mile and Hayes, and they didn't win, but it was just the fact that they were like family. They enjoyed themselves. They learned from their experiences from each other and from other competitors, and we just want to let you know that next year we want to make sure that we represent Harper Woods, because that event was like a March Madness of robotics. The parents had the shirts on. It was just like watching the basketball game with the robots, and they did very well. And the robotics team would like to share their knowledge with the community, especially in the library this summer. They wanted to encourage young people to come up to the library, and they can teach them the coding and all the robotic terminology that so we encourage you to, and once Mr. Lyman tell us the dates on the events in the library this summer, we will let you know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Teresa Foster. I live on Woodland. I want to talk about the active city manager position. Where is the city administration posting the classified to fill the position for a permanent city manager other than its own city website? I've recently researched, the last of which was this past Sunday. I looked into these locations for appropriate listings: Macomb Daily, Grosse Pointe News, Detroit Free Press, State of Michigan, and 2 additional websites that were suggested to me to be more likely having the listings: Michigan Community Jobs, Michigan Municipal League Classifieds, Michigan Municipal League, Michigan Municipal Executives, but to no avail. All the searching with no postings for the position of a full-time city manager leads me to ponder a few questions. 1, is the city truly serious about filling the position of a full-time city manager? Is the city just trying to placate the city's citizens into the belief that it's in an active search for a city manager? Is the city attempting to hire from within its employee base? If so, will that sought-after candidate have the necessary qualifications to assume the position of a full-time city manager, or will the city, again, as in the past, be financially compensating that individual for on-the-job training? I don't understand the lack of movement on such an important city-changing position. The hiring of full-time city manager. Can you offer an explanation to the residents of our fair city? Thank you.
Good evening, Tony Wagner, resident on Washtenaw. I just wanted to thank and acknowledge people of the City Council, going from left to right, for the votes and the comments that were made regarding that GPAS contract. I've got to really back up a couple of the council people who voted against, but also have to respect the reluctant decision to approve from some of the other folks. Just by way of perspective, in a former life, I was a staff manager at Ameritech, Michigan Bell, worked on cost studies, presentations to the various public service commissions and PUCs, and Ms. Sawicki nailed it perfectly as far as the way this GPAS should be structured, as far as dividing what we call the non-traffic sensitive or fixed cost versus the traffic sensitive or variable cost. The basic fixed cost for the landscaping, the snow plowing, the electrical work of the building absolutely should be allocated across 6 municipalities, not necessarily equally, but equitably, because the 5 gross points are not all the same size. But those are fixed overheads that ought to be spread fairly, and they're not. The variable cost, based upon how many dogs or puppies or cats are brought in, that's fair to allocate those by zip code or by city. But again, Ms. Sawicki nailed it perfectly as far as the way those costs ought to be divided. Hopefully, when this comes up for contract again, their allocations will be more appropriate and that can be expressed. The other comment I had from Mr. Toussaint was about them getting a tax-free ride, property tax-free ride. I have to think that's probably a pretty important consideration because they are getting city services at no cost. Just out of curiosity, I went online, looked up the property tax paid by the privately owned veterinarian facility a block over, and it was an eye-opener how much those property taxes were a block away for another animal facility. So they are getting a heck of a break not having to pay property tax to get city services. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? If not, Councilwoman Williams. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I had a couple of comments. One, I was going to ask about the city manager search too, because that was on my mind, because we haven't really heard that much about it. And the other thing was several of the council members attended the Michigan Municipal League Conference, Capital Conference. While we're there, we go to different workshops and we learn about different things that's happening around the state and with other cities. One of the big things that they kept talking about was housing, because I think a lot of cities are having issues with housing, with finding enough housing for their residents. So they went on and on about the housing and different things about that. While I was there, I received my first award, my first level 1 award, so I was pretty proud about that. Because we work hard in trying to educate ourselves about what's going on, not just within our city, but across the state. And again, several other council members was there and received other awards. So it was a very nice conference. And so I look forward to the next one, because there's a lot of things that we learn. You know, those workshops are so important. And then we meet with other people and other councils, and it really does make a difference to find out what's going on across the state, not just within our city. And I think that's it.
Just want to remind everyone that on Saturday, April 26th is the Earth Day cleanup. Meet here at 10 a.m. Heather? 10 a.m. We'll have rakes, we'll have everything, but if you want to bring gloves or a rake, please do and come and we'll give you an assignment. And hopefully a lot of residents show up and we can get some cleanup done. Another shout out to our school board members. You guys got a tough job. I know that money's gonna be, it's hard to say. I know Dr. Tuttle from Grosse Pointe Public Schools announced that schools, the Grosse Pointe district could be losing 25% of all their funding. This is directly from the superintendent. But I also want to shout out that, you know, a lot of times Harper Woods doesn't get represented in a lot of things, and Grosse Pointe Public Schools are going to be attempting to pass a bond. The bond exists. It's a new bond, but so it's not going to be it shouldn't be a tax increase. But so they have a committee they formed, and 2 residents, one here in the audience and another one, stepped up and were chosen to represent the city of Harper Woods and give a voice to us on this bond. So they should be congratulated in their dedication to making sure that the taxpayers are getting their money worth. So that's all I got.
Nothing at this moment.
I don't have anything to say.
Mayor Kendall and I attended the GMAR elected officials breakfast at the Livonia Marriott. That's the Greater Metropolitan Association of Realtors. Got some very good information on realtors. Did you know that in 2024, we had some of the lowest housing sales? 2022, we had a record low interest rates. I know I took advantage of that, but now it's growing quite a bit, as we can see. And 1984, the average rate for repeat home buyers, was 36 years old. 2020, that average age now is 61. So we can see the housing market has changed a lot. Again, CapCon, as Councilwoman Regina was mentioning, MML is dedicated to educating, advocating, and inspiring change on behalf of mission communities. They provide professional development, executive recruitment to insurance and risk mitigation. I actually had the opportunity to moderate a session there on the role of local leaders in preparing for mass shootings, which was very interesting because one thing I did take away from that, being as council people, and one of the things you should know, you never know what's going to happen. We should have the phone numbers of very important people, like our police chief, or city council people, fire, and so I made sure I've collected all those to be prepared in case something like that happens. I also received my Level 3 award. Award for that. And 3 of us received awards there. Councilwoman Regina did, and also
Heather,
she got a Women's Leadership Award. So we had 3 people represented from Harper Woods. So I think that Another thing I wanted to bring up was some things on some other activities coming up. We have adult summer reading program, June 23rd to August 1st. Our representative Veronica Pies for community conversation discussions will be on April 21st, May 19th, and the 18th, from 5:30 to 6. Also, we have a summer program coming up with arts and crafts. That'll be June 23rd to August the 7th. We have adult tennis going on from April 26th to May 10th. We have kids tennis going on from April 26th to May 10th. And of course, my favorite, pickleball, which will be going, and Councilwoman LaPratt. I'm getting bad with the bad names today. We are very active in that area from June 21st to July 30th. So, okay, just encourage you to read your insider.
thank you. That's what I was about to say.
Loaded with activities.
All in your insider.
Oh,
Please
man.
read it.
Read it. Okay.
I still haven't.
Councilwoman Constantino.
I'm looking forward to receiving it. I haven't received it yet.
Here, you can have that one. I got cups several.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay. 2 things. Number 1, we need an ordinance committee meeting. We had like our first ordinance of the whole year and it's already April. And there's just things that are still out there in the wind that need to be tied up. And we just need to have an ordinance committee meeting. We haven't had one in a very, very, very long time. Secondly, I also attended the CAPCON, the Michigan Municipal League Conference. It was very good. There was all kinds of workshops, even though it was really short, it was just basically one day, but things that talked about gentrification, technology, this current generation, Gen Z, how they've never known a world without technology and how it's affecting us. But the workshop that affected me the most was how decisions we make affect the city 100 years later. And there was an example of Jackson, Michigan, how decisions that were made 100 years earlier are affecting that city now. And I know we've seen it with the with legacy costs and different things that were promised before any of us were on this council. And we had to deal with how that, with all of that. And that's something we really struggled through when times were tough. But it really is making me think about the choices that we make, that you can't just go into something. You have to think about what is that going to do to the city after we're gone. And so that alone was, worth the time spent there. And I appreciate you all for sending us there.
Okay, good. All right. The only thing I'm going to say right now is have a wonderful day. Please come out and support the Lions Club on Palm Sunday from 10 to 1. We need your support. It's right across the street at the AmVets. So please come out and support the Lions Club. We do so much for our community, and they need your support. So, Tom Jennings?
Well, Madam Mayor, I gotta make
No,
a-
we don't.
Yeah.
You might want to announce that.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you saw the agenda, it said that we had a closed session, but the closed session has been canceled. So we are just going to adjourn and go home.
My turn.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, I'd like
Yes.
to make the motion for adjournment.
Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.